backdrop. And, Jeezy, you have some Le'Veon Bell.
Well, we're going to start here by explaining.
Yeah, I'm ready to hear this one.
Me too. I'm ready.
We were talking earlier about, is he going to show up? Maybe. And everybody's like, well, wait a minute. Why would he not show? Just to make it crystal clear about what happened this week. Our Tom Pelissero reported, and others had reported it as well. It just so happened that it got attention this week as well. Tom said that even if he does not show this year, because the deadline is Tuesday. If he doesn't show Tuesday, he can't play football. That's what Tuesday means, okay? If he doesn't, he can still progress to the third franchise tag. Basically skip the second franchise tag. Remember, he played in the first one last year. So he would go to $25 million or something like that. A
Which
number
the team
that
is
the
not
team
gonna
would
play,
never,
right? Yeah.
it's the quarterback number for next year, would never put on him. Now, here's where the confusion kind of came in a little bit.
Because it was thought that he wouldn't have the accrued season, right? If he didn't.
The thought was basically the contract, it's called toll. The contract would toll, meaning whatever your number was this year, that would be the number next year. And a lot of people believe that to be the case. But the NFL is not contesting it, and the NFLPA believes it, that he is going to basically skip that second tag, even if he does not show up, to get to that higher number, which means he would be an unrestricted free agent without a franchise tag, open to negotiate with everybody
So
else.
Kirk Cousins could have did this.
Well, he's a quarterback anyway, though.
Yeah.
But you're talking about non-quarterback guys. I'm going to get to that in a second. But here's where the confusion kind of came in this week. Our MJD was on Dave Damashek's podcast and said, well, now they're studying the paperwork and the CBA and going, the agent, that is, Adisa Bakari and Le'Veon Bell, because the implication was that they had no idea that this was the case. Now, Bakari had mentioned back in the summer, that the third tag was coming if he played out this year. But nobody in his camp seemed to know that you could basically sit out the whole year and duck this second tag and get yourself.
You don't think he knew?
To free agency.
Because he's still not there.
We haven't heard anything from Bakari since this was mentioned by MJD, who is represented, by the way.
Yeah.
Was represented as a player by Bakari. So the interesting thing now is, what's the upside if you're Le'Veon Bell to coming back? You're opening yourself up. You already punted on half of the $14 million, $7 million plus or whatever it's up to right now. What's the upside to coming now and collecting that back in, opening yourself up to injury if you're going to skip that second tag anyway? Now, here's where it gets really interesting to me.
I thought it was already interesting.
I doubled back. well, here's why it gets, because now it's more than just Le'Veon Bell. I doubled back with some agents this week who either have guys approaching a franchise tag or approaching a second franchise tag. Did you know about this? And they said no, but to be fair to me, meaning them, I don't have a guy on a second tag. I would have studied this up and down, and I would have known. They all say that, of course. Yeah. Anyway, now going forward, if you're a player who is going to be a multiple franchise tag guy, and again, quarterbacks are excluded, you now know that this loophole is available to you. So you may say to a team, even if it's only to bluff, okay, we're going to play out the first franchise tag, and then we're going to sit out the next one. So you better give us a long-term deal, because now we know, because of Le'Veon Bell, that there's an escape hatch to avoid the franchise tag.
But the player wants to play.
Well, that's the
what
downside.
I'm saying?
And that's why the league isn't really fighting back on this, because you have to have a guy who's willing to give up, the money on the franchise tag, which Bell did. I mean, I know there's this talk of, like, Des Bryant, this is why he's holding out. Okay, yeah, he also is punting on maybe all $14 million and change this year. So you have to be willing to do that, and you also have to be willing to sit out an entire year. But again, it's available now as at least a chip to play during the negotiations to teams going forward and saying, well, Le'Veon sat out for a year, and they're also monitoring this. They want to see what happens going forward. If he gets a big deal in the spring, which I do expect him to get, they'll also take that and say, well, if it worked out for Le'Veon, it could work out for me.
I mean, I like the strategy. I love the availability of the loophole, but it's like this is a running back, another year gone without him playing, and people look at running backs around the 30 age.
Right, which is why the end result, I mean, we can look at it and say, okay, he basically gave up a year, but that's a year less wear and tear on his body, so he'll be okay punting on that year because he's adding a year to the back end of his career. Maybe. It's all theoretical,
This is why we need guaranteed contracts, bro. This is why we got to get guaranteed contracts.
I agree to a degree, but the reason why we didn't have it at first is because let's say you're guaranteed $3 million and then you go out and make all pro and ball out. Now you're worth $10 million. A team's going to say, well, you're guaranteed that $3 million.
As long as they can cut you and not have to pay you the next day, we got no security. We need guaranteed contracts.
Because we don't own teams. They're the boss.
For as
Neither do NBA players.
This discussion could just
and they
go
got no
on
trade
and on.
clauses.
the long and short of it is, for as much as we criticize the agent for not knowing the full ramifications of everything, he did open a little bit of an escape hatch here, a little bit, potentially for players to use going forward.
Wow, that is a really interesting wrinkle, especially after just